Part 74. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 736. Chapter 736 Back to Cloud Spirit. Is there such an ancient scripture? Only more than 100,000 years ago, Wei Suo took a good time for great treasure, and finally returned to God and asked. An ancient level of great treasure can, both hands to attract the amazing world of origin chi, then many of the shapeshift great art are restraining each other's jo sided by the world of origin chi. However, the spiritual vein was completely cut off, and the cultivation world's shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art both produced a huge great treasure change. The ancient great treasure, the most important shapeshift great art, could not be used and was completely cut off. What do you do so proudly? The saliva is flowing out quickly. With your cultivation base, True Yuan is still more and more casual. Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo and was very depressed. Because Wei Suo is now back to God, it is a pair of great treasures that are cheap and eye-opening. The thing that records the Earth Mother ancient scripture is a long time, but it is not so far. It is estimated that there is a great treasure in the future. I got the ancient scripture, and then I inferred to create the scripture. Wei Suo's golden divine mark was once again released. Like the same group, the void walking footwork was once again displayed, and it was once again crossed for 10 miles. Haha, Wei Suo smiled even more. He crossed the void and was always within 100 feet away from the ground. The passage between him and Earth Chi in his naked body always existed. Step by step, True Yuan in the naked body almost instantly filled with Earth Mother ancient scripture. You can use void walking footwork almost without restrictions. How can this not make him smile? In this way, at least his escape has been guaranteed. Even if Huangpujualun sneak up again, he can escape again. Don't be afraid that the water attribute monster core and Dan Yuan, who supplements True Yuan, are not enough. Ling Longtian is very speechless to Wei Suo's. He also said, I advise you to converge a little. You can use void walking footwork less and use it sparingly. This void walking footwork is our supreme strong shapeshift great art in spirit race. In case there is no death in the desolate race, you will be seen, it will be terrible. Desolate race's great treasure can, but it doesn't know how many times it is better than just the old Mao. Just do you still say that the other party is old Miso Mao? He was vomiting blood when he was looked at. I don't know who is so sad to me. Don't shoot me, then shoot me and die. Wei Suo disdained for a surging sound, but I felt that Ling Longtian made a lot of sense and didn't show void walking footwork again. Anyway, it's not far from Cloud Spirit Continent's edge Heaven's Dome. Even if you don't encounter any Cloud Spirit Continent cultivator along the way, you can reach Cloud Spirit Continent's edge cultivator city for up to 2 or 3 days. I told you that I was injured first. Ling Longtian was suddenly angered by Wei Suo and couldn't wait to reach out and tear Wei Suo away. Forget it, set up shapeshift great art and they will meet and say that if this guy has something to do, he will definitely say it. Wei Suo is a haha smile, but my heart is so awkward. Eastern Desolate Sect records the scripture of void walking footwork and great desolation Dao asking scripture. Since it is a sequence error 1 Yuan, only spirit race can see it. Then the last sentence of nature should be wrong, and there must be something unique. Meaning. But now Wei Suo is not in a hurry to inquire about this, because Ling Longtian is following him. He must have asked for help, and she will say it by herself. I don't know if Lightning Waning Moon's scripture will eventually be able to come out. Wei Suo's eyes were unconsciously swept over Li Ziyi. The catalogue of Li Ziyi's Lightning Waning Moon has not yet been made. If you can get Lightning Waning Moon's top grade attack, shapeshift great art, and Earth Mother ancient scripture, even if Wei Suo's cultivation base has no shapeshift great art breakthrough in a short time, it is estimated to be invincible in the golden core stage cultivator. It is. And Lightning Waning Moon, the top grade attack of shapeshift great art, which was attacked by ancient 10 great treasure, was strong by shapeshift great art. After Wei Suo repaired Divine Mystic Realm, it was used by Great Treasure. If you can promote Divine Mystic Realm and display it with Divine Mystic Cultivation Base, the power of Shapeshift Great Art is unimaginable. Steel Teeth younger sister, what do you mean by Huangpujualun's ancient sword? How can his flying sword be made in the naked body, and the power is so amazing? How to say it? Call me Steel Teeth younger sister, I will not answer your question. Huangpujualun is an ancient sword that can refine the flying sword refining cost, and can continuously improve the flying sword powerful energy. This flying sword is a hit, with the power of true Yuan, the powerful energy is very terrifying. If his flying sword is not high enough, if he is flying sword, he will reach the half-immortal level. Your town's shapeshift great art can't stop it? Can you pass the shapeshift great art array? Crap, I can even pass Heaven's Dome, of course, by sending shapeshift great art. Continuously moving towards Cloud Spirit Continent, and about 8,000 miles from Heaven's Dome Great Treasure on the edge of Cloud Spirit Continent, Wei Suo finally saw two cultivator escape lights. Because there is already a supreme strong shapeshift great art like void walking footwork, Wei Suo has no big treasure scruples at all, and swept directly toward the two escape lights. The two escape lights are red and white, which are made up of a white dusty shape of the shapeshift great art great treasure and a red yew bamboo shape of the shapeshift great art great treasure. The two shapeshift great art great treasures are each standing on a cultivator, which is the cultivation base of the thought division realm third layer, one of whom is a 50-year-old Huangbao old man and a 30-year-old white-faced green robe cultivator. When I saw Wei Suo and others, the scenery light was extremely amazing, and it was obviously toward me. The two cultivator faces suddenly showed a nervous look, but when they saw Wei Suo and others, they wanted to avoid it. It is absolutely impossible to avoid, so the two cultivators stopped looking after each other. When Wei Suo and Li Ziyi and Ling Long Tianbai approached the two cultivators, the divine consciousness was slightly swept away, and the two cultivators' looks suddenly changed. Because Wei Suo and Ling Long Tian, including Li Ziyi, are not visible to spiritual qi at the moment, Ling Long Tian is fine. Bamang shapeshift talisman makes her look like the thought division realm cultivation base, but the flavor of Wei Suo and Li Ziyi is the cultivator that makes the two cultivators feel right away, and they are not at the same level. In the next day, Tianzong Qin Li, this is a friend, Sun Xin of Sanyuanzong. I don't know if the three seniors came here. Is there anything wrong with it? I felt that Wei Suo and Li Ziyi were definitely far from their own cultivator. The two cultivators were immediately respectful and gave a courtesy, and the 50-year-old Huangbao old man immediately greeted him. Don't worry, we just passed by, just happened to meet two fellow deists. By the way, Wei Suo nodded, and asked directly, which city is the nearest city to this secret place, and where is the secret place? The city from this secret place is the Hishan city where we are together. Just behind us the old man in the yellow robe and the green robe cultivator next to him heard Wei Suo asking shapeshift great art, but they were all slightly stunned, but they did not dare to neglect. When they answered such a sentence, the old man in the yellow robe pointed a finger at the back. Hishianken, Wei Suo sighed a little and asked, have you heard of it recently? Heavenly Profound Continent has a rogue cultivator that killed Mystic Wind Sect's true treasure disciple and some old antique characters. What the predecessor said is Wei Suo's rogue cultivator, the yellow robe old man and the green robe cultivator are another glimpse. After two people look at each other, the yellow robe old man be careful said. Now Cloud Spirit Continent's Heaven's Dome, there hasn't been any gaps recently, and all the city's transmission shapeshift great art arrays are working properly. Wei Suo didn't say anything, just asked the surging sound color and asked this one. Cloud Spirit Continent's Heaven's Dome, there has been no recent rip. The shapeshift great art array between the cities is also working. The old man in the yellow robe was a glimpse, but immediately nodded and gave a positive answer. Thank you so much for the two fellow deists. Don't ever. Wei Suo no longer asked anything. After arching his hand, he made a look at Ling Longtian and Li Ziyi. Then the three left the two cultivators, facing the rear of the two cultivators, the orientation of Hishianken. Fly away. The yellow-robe old man and the green-robe cultivator did not dare to do anything. After Wei Suo and Ling Longtian and Li Ziyi had already been a dozen miles away, both of them had a sigh of relief and talked. Qian brother, listening to what they mean, it seems that we are not the cultivator of our cloud spirit continent. Is it that they are directly crossing the wild treasure? The old man looks a bit stupid, isn't they? The old man in the yellow robe said the secret place, suddenly stopped, and looked at the green robe cultivator, and they all saw the horror of the other party's heart. I still ask the other party to hear that there is no rogue cultivator killing Mystic Wind Sect's true treasure, the treasure disciple and the old antique. You are really narcissistic at this time. Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo and was very contemptuous. What do you know? I want to ask this question. Has my Dao companion already heard the news? Wei Suo took a surging sound. At this moment, his heart is great treasure, since the two rogue cultivators of the Cloud Spirit Continent Edge City have heard such news, it is impossible to know without the ability of Yin Liwa and Ji Yat. Dao companion? As for you, Dao companion? Ling Longtian heard it, and some sneered. Now that she has the Bamang shapeshift talisman on the head of the Longhorn spirit race, she doesn't know what the idea is, and she is not in a hurry. She just follows Wei Suo and doesn't ask where Wei Suo wants to go first. It is very likely that her injury has not completely recovered. Now Wei Suo will be void walking footwork, which is the best bodyguard for her. Wei Suo is now somewhat impressed to see Ji Yat and Han Wei and others, too lazy to take care of Ling Longtian, but gave her a blank look. It must be ugly and ugly, just like your dead liar. Ling Longtian is very upset. It is very vicious to add such a sentence. Really, Wei Suo looked at Ling Longtian and said, you will know when you get there. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 737. Chapter 737 Is your Dao companion? A whole naked body is made of black essence metal. In the Great Treasure Hall, there is a giant great treasure, dark yellow great treasure seat with a very ancient and savage atmosphere. This great treasure seat has a 3-foot square, 1 foot high, round, covered with a strip of lower body is a secluded flame, the upper body is covered with the battle armor's Sly God rune. This great treasure seat is a great treasure of the former Yin Corp sect master blood spirit old ancestor, and now sits on a majestic great treasure seat with a white coat wearing a black shapeshift great art gown. Beautiful female cultivator. This female cultivator is so eye-catching, born with a charming, it is Yin Liwa. At the moment she was frowning, holding a thin piece of pure gold in her hand, an indescribable god lust. Below her, there are more than 10 Yin Corp sect cultivators. The more than 10 Yin Corp sect cultivator great treasures are mostly old and young, and Yin Qi is very strong. It is obviously a high-powered figure of Yin Corp section. Among them is a middle-aged bald man with a black spiritual Qi condense in the shape of a double-headed black Xiao snake. This cultivator is awesome. When Wei Suo rushed to the Yin Corp sect mountain gate and challenged Yeling. Yin Corp sect golden core cultivator Mo Qingfeng. Sect master, although this is strange, but with the strength of heaven transformation cult, this Tianjin Jane, we did not do shapeshift great art refused. And heaven transformation cult only said to establish an offensive and defensive alliance, does not interfere with sect internal affairs. This matter has no bad secret place for us Yin Corp section. A skinny elder wearing a shapeshift great art dress with a white skull-like rune, the eyes glowed green and suddenly surging sound. Ginger elders, this is not so simple. Mo Qingfeng glanced at the dry elders and said, heaven transformation cult and achievement and virtue sect have always been wrong. This will definitely provoke the issue of great treasure, even though it does not interfere with sect's internal affairs, but in case great treasure battle together, when the unified acceptance of heaven transformation cult scheduling, our sect, it is likely to become cannon fodder first. Elder Mo said it was good, but if we don't agree, I'm afraid Heaven Transformation Cult will be black to us under the secret place. A head of Yin Corpse sect, who has a yellow head, is very worried. Promise down, even if the great treasure can't fight, Heaven Transformation Cult's opposite achievement and virtue sect side, I am afraid it will also be black to us. Do not agree, is the black hand by Heaven Transformation section. Yin Liwa's surging sound sounded. Now things are lust, that is, we have to decide whether to fall back to achievement and virtue sect or Heaven Transformation Cult. Because it doesn't matter if you are under the black hand, the most important thing is that if there is a great treasure battle together, if the party we fall in is lost, the foundation of Yin Corpse sect may not exist. Heaven Transformation sect is difficult first. Maybe there is some control. I think you can still consider the Heaven Transformation sect side. A face of a very calm purple robe Yin Corpse sect elder Shen surging sound said. Achievement and virtue sect have been accumulated for nearly 10,000 years, and the foundation is much stronger than Heaven Transformation sect. The strength of both sides is not measured by shapeshift great art. It is a level of great treasure fish. It is impossible to see who can eat it in one bit. Heaven Transformation sect only gives us 3 days, and it's not enough time to find out more. Looking at the lust shape that Yin Liwa negotiated with these Yin Corpse sect great elder characters, Yin Liwa has clearly won the position of Yin Corpse sect master, and now it seems that there are 2 great sect oppositions, one of which is for secret places pulling strength, and Yin Liwa and these Yin Corpse sect great elder characters are also difficult to decide. Suddenly, a white phosphor-fired talisman suddenly came in from the mouth of this great treasure. Yin Liwa's brow jumped slightly and immediately surging sound, come in. Sect Master, a Yin Corpse sect cultivator wearing a deathly pale shapeshift great art suit swept in, standing in the secret place not far from the temple door, and bowed to Yin Liwa and the Yin Corpse sect elders. What is it? Yin Liwa waved her hand and looked very determined. It was completely Sect Master's majesty, and there was no such Xiao woman gesture in front of Wei Suo. There are 3 cultivators who say that there is an urgent need to see you right away. Ma elder. The Yin Corpse sect cultivator said the secret place and hesitated. What happened to Ma's elder? Yin Liwa eyes flash, road. Elder Ma said that you didn't want to see it, you had a few conflicts with the other party, and the result was caught by the other party. The other party said that they don't want to start, just pass a half sentence to you, you will know. Said the Yin Corpse sect cultivator. What a half sentence? Say it. Yin Liwa suddenly got excited and shouted. The moon in the sky is white. The Yin Corpse sect disciple didn't dare to stop, and immediately said, it's just a half sentence. Come and ask him to come in. Yin Liwa's naked body was slightly shocked. After saying this sentence quickly, he immediately followed Mo Qingfeng and others, the elders will come back first. Please come back first, all of these elders have stunned. That's the day. When I wait, I will naturally have a decision. Yin Liwa smiled and suddenly became very confident. Mo Qingfeng and others looked at each other with a bit of surprise, but these Yin Corpse sect great elder characters did not say anything. After looking at each other with suspicion, they all plucked out the great treasure haul. Chi. After Mo Qingfeng and others all came out of this great treasure haul, Yin Liwa reached out and stirred a green fireworks out. Sect Master. Just 1 or 2 breaths, a Yin Corpse sect cultivator, also wearing a deathly pale shapeshift great art, appeared in the temple and was respectful. Go and invite all of guest elder, and say that there are guests. Yin Liwa took a deep breath and waved. Onith Yin Corpse sect cultivator swept away without a moment of pause. You finally came. After the Yin Corpse sect cultivator left, Yin Liwa stood up directly from the great treasure seat of the gods, and his face was suddenly filled with excitement. Next, this woman who is still a sect master is somewhat restless. Sect Master, they are here. A moment later, a surging sound from Yin Corpse sect disciple came in from outside the hall. Please come in, you don't have to come in. Waiting for guest elder, they arrived, and let them come in directly. Yin Liwa took a deep breath and said the sentence. 3 cultivators, shrouded in black cloaks, quickly entered the great treasure hall. Call, a black cloak was first put away, Wei Suo with a smile, quietly watching Yin Liwa. You are worried about dying me? Yin Liwa's eyes suddenly red, completely without the majesty of the previous sect master, are you Yan Xianglin, directly into the arms of Wei Suo's. Great sect master Yin, how do you seem to be thin? Wei Suo is full of warmth, some embarrassed, dry coughing a surging sound, but the mouth is somewhat untrue. Your day's cultivation base has not recovered, it has fallen into northern Bright City, how it survived as a result, Wei Suo didn't speak well. In the eyes of Yin Liwa, she immediately rolled out the tears of the pearl. This is a long story. Dead steel teeth younger sister, what do you do? Wei Suo suddenly called great treasure called a surging sound. Yin Liwa was also stunned. Because at this moment, a figure beside Wei Suo directly hit her grand treasure seat, kaka a surging sound, actually directly slammed the great treasure of the gods. Originally, spirit light flashed the great treasure seat of the gods, and suddenly the brilliance disappeared. Wei Suo, this, Yin Liwa was completely dumbfounded, and even the tears hanging on her face forgot to rub. Dead steel teeth younger sister, you, Wei Suo was almost angry. This directly smashed the bite of the great treasure of the gods, naturally the steel mouth steel teeth younger sister Ling Longtian. What is this shapeshift great art great treasure? Wei Suo held back the urge to shoot Ling Longtian and looked at Yin Liwa. Reassuring, just the defense of Dao rank middle grade, there is a shapeshift great art array similar to the shapeshift great art array. It is equivalent to let the cultivator send out to 3,000 feet, and the cultivator can be transferred from here just outside the mountain gate. If you don't have 2 great treasure, use secret place, don't be ignorant, just give me a cure at this moment. Ling Longtian has restored its original appearance, reveals a sharp tiger tooth, and a god of indifference. Yin Liwa still has no answer, but she has already said this to Wei Suo. Pu but just finished the sentence, this Ling Longtian suddenly had a bang, his hands couldn't help but hold his throat, and the mouth immediately spit out a little foam, and the naked body also smashed and screamed. In this shapeshift great art great treasure, there are so many clouds in the naked body. Wei Suo, is she? Yin Liwa finally came back and couldn't help but look at Wei Suo. This Ling Longtian took a piece of essence metal in the great treasure seat of the gods. After eating it, it looked like a monster beast, but looking at the lust shape and the body of her, it was not like the monster beast. Make her feel incredible. What damned thing, eat me. Wei Suo Zhang opened his mouth, haven't had time to speak, foaming, all over the Chaochu. Ling Longtian is slowly over the gas, depressed extremely. Look at the underworld god great treasure seat again called up, this is who refining damned thing, how can in ancient Hades essence metal in add so many cloud essence, do not know cloud essence this kind of thing can burn human spermatogonial blood. This is the antiquity life form that has lived for more than 60,000 years. Wait a minute and explain it slowly. Wei Suo quickly said this with Yin Liwa, gnashing his teeth, dead steel teeth younger sister, are you a dog? If you see a bone, you can't die. If you dare to one yuan something, I promise to go out to great treasure and advertise, tell all cloud spirit continents cultivator, there is an ancient spirit race steel teeth younger sister here. 60,000 years of antiquity life form, Yin Liwa suddenly coaxed a cold air and looked at Ling Longtian incredulously. This sect thing is the same as Bai Bei, Ghost Chi Sensen, don't eat it for me dead liar, you have refined the cloud in this thing, I promise not to eat the shapeshift great art great treasure in this section. Ling Longtian retched twice, and it seemed that it was completely better. Is she your Dao companion? Seeing Yin Liwa's appearance, Ling Longtian couldn't help but swear, isn't that a facelift? Don't worry about her, she eats essence metal and her head is broken. Wei Suo hates toothache. It seems that there is no plastic surgery, as long as you look like this, can you still have such a Dao companion? Ling Longtian's eyes were golden and she looked at Yin Liwa, but it was a little depressed. Yin Liwa eyes muscle you bone, soft and bone, but the standard beauty embryo. Mother Hummer, such a sly guy, there is still such a Dao companion, actually a sect master. Ling Longtian saw Yin Liwa's eyes again. The more I saw it, the more I felt uncomfortable, and I sweared in my heart. Wei Suo. Wei Suo is about to ask Yin Liwa Jia about their whereabouts, because looking at the look of Yin Liwa before, and Yin Liwa talking about the North Spirit City, he knows that Jia is definitely not a problem, and his heart is already great treasure. At this time, a surging sound called surging sound rang from the mouth of the great treasure, a graceful figure, and swept towards Wei Suo. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 738. Spirit Family. 60,000 years ago. Real power above the real fairy level? How could there be no record at all? So weird. As the night sank like water, Wei Suo and Li continued freely towards the direction of the Beigong ruins, and the incredible roar of the old man in green robe rang continuously in Wei Suo's ears. After the Xiao girl with the long horn on her head pretended to leave first, Wei Suo also let all the group of scouting mining monks behind him leave first, and at the same time took the ghost tank back from the Nabeo bracelet. Wei Suo told the old man in green robe one by one the contents of the conversation with the Xiao the long horn. The old man in green robe was also extremely shocked. He had never heard of any Tongtian priest and any record about the spirit family. She's back, Wei Suo said quietly, quietly. A purple streamer emerged from the forest not far behind him at this moment, and chased him in the direction where he and Li were freehand. Ziazi, you have to ask carefully, maybe there is a hidden secret because the Xiao girl's perception is extremely strange, compared with the monk, it seems to be more sensitive and does not know how many times, even the condensed sound can be heard, so green the old man in robe said nothing immediately. I came back so quickly, you are not afraid that the monks did not go far enough, or were those monks seeing you with me? The Xiao girl with the long horn on her head escaped so amazingly, she soon came to Wei Suo. Not far away, Wei Suo glanced at her and said. I'm just afraid that you don't keep your credibility and run away secretly. Xiao girl gritted her teeth, you're very welcome, there is no posture of allies at all. What's your name? Wei Suo asked, also not angry. This is a private secret, I have the right not to answer. Xiao girl is very proud. Well, I'll call you Steel Teeth Girl. Wei Suo doesn't matter, whatever you want. You. My name is Ling Longtian. Xiao girl gritted her teeth with anger, and if she could move Weizhuo, she must have taken a few bites. Okay, that's the spirit of the sky. Wei Suo doesn't quarrel with the Xiao girl with long horns on the head. Now both sides feel that the other is deliberate, and no one knows how long this relationship can be maintained between the two sides, so Wei Suo pays close attention. Time, asked, how can you be so clear about the ruins of Beigong? What is your relationship with Beigong and how can you be in the Lingxi vein? It's okay to tell you. The reason I am here is because we and other spirits have a big battle here with our opponents. Beigong was also completely ruined by that battle. Xiao girl's eyes were golden flashing, not looking at Wei Suo, but looking straight to the direction of the Beigong ruins. At this moment, there is only 1,000 miles from the ruins of Belong recorded in the ancestors of the Jin family ancestral hall in Wei Suo's hands, but at night, he still can't see any clues, only to see a few deserted ancient mountains, towering into the clouds. Beijing was ruined by this battle. Are there other spirits? Wei Suo and Li Bao took a breath of air, very shocked. It is said that Beigong was the sect that had existed since the establishment of the Sky Dome. There have been many terrifying powers, but it was because of this battle that it led to the disappearance of Beigong. And the so-called spirit family, there is more than Xiao girl, There are many kinds. Does the so-called spirit family, is the ancient demon cult that is annihilated? Green robe old man suddenly thought of a possibility, forgetting that the Xiao girl who claimed to be named Ling Longtian might hear it and couldn't help but hold Wei Wuizhuo. Exclaimed in his ears. Your spirit is a bit knowledgeable, and you know the ancient demon repair. Xiao girl really heard the words of the old man in green robe, and she seemed to have sensed the existence of the old man in green robe. There was no surprise at all. At the place where Wei Suo held the ghost tank, some proudly said, but you should know that the ancient demon cultivation is not born in human form, and our spirit family is born in human form. I know. Your spirit race is the ancient demon cultivation. After the big demon becomes a companion, the descendants passed down, the old man in green robe cried as horrified as he dreamed. The golden light flashed in the eyes of the Xiao girl, and she did not speak. It was obvious that she accepted the old man in the green robe. No wonder she said that the starting point of the birth of the spirit race is far higher than that of the monk. Wei Suo took a deep breath and tried to set her mind. Previously, from some fierce talks between some ancient books and the old man in the green robe, Wei Suo also learned that there were many spirit beasts between heaven and earth before the heavens and earth burst, and before the heavens became metamorphosis. Some of them comprehended the practice method and opened the spirit. The wise spirit beast is called ancient demon cultivation. Like his present Yangtze bird and green Luan, an ancient dragon, strictly speaking, it is also such demon cultivation. The metamorphosis demon refers to the powerful demon cultivation of the adult form. According to records, the magical powers of cultivating humanoids are at least one level of divine profound power. The spirit clan turned out to be the descendants who formed a fellowship between the transformed monsters. For the monk, this is equivalent to the couple's husband and wife are both children of the Xian Meng. This kind of parents are all gods and great powers, and their status is naturally more respected than that of Su Jianxian, and the chances they get are definitely more amazing than that of Su Jianxian, a young master who has only one Xianjing dad. Since you, a spirit family, how can you not be found in the records? This is definitely not something that can be explained by the ages because the old man has been completely revealed anyway, so the old man in green robe did not hide it, and asked directly in shock road. We have a small number of spirit races, and we only have exciting sets with some levels of power. Just like the ancient Tianlong and the inexplicable powerful monsters in the endless wilderness, even if the divine profound power can't be reached, naturally there is no record. Can you go in and out of the sky? Wei Suo asked. Some can, some can't, I can anyway. Xiao girl glanced at Wei Suo, so you don't want to use the sky to throw me away. Damn, aren't you afraid of being treated as a high-level monster by the monks? Even if those powerful people can recognize you as a spiritual race, I am afraid that you have a lot of research value in them. Maybe you will be cut into pieces to study. As soon as Wei Suo thought of the Xiao girl, he might be following him all the way, knowing that there might be some benefits, or some heads, he couldn't help but cursed again. I will naturally have a way, I don't need you to control. Xiao girl gave Wei Suo a white glance. She obviously had no good feelings for Wei Suo, bright and pointed. Xiao Huya. You are descendants of the transfiguration demon cultivator, then your opponent, the master of the broken arm, what is the origin? Wei Suo asked next. This question has nothing to do with you, I don't want to answer. Xiao girl gritted her teeth and said straightforwardly. Wei Suo rolled his eyes and did not fight with her. Then he asked, that Bei is on your side or your opponent? Are you fighting with the master of this broken arm? This battle seems to be have you lost. Both defeats hurt. The Xiao girl seemed unwilling to mention more about the past, and said very simply. Before the war was over, I was fatally wounded and cast the supreme resurrection dharma. I sank to the ground and was awakened when I was dug out. As for the spirit stone, I don't know when it will turn. I was born, and it just pressed me in. It seemed to know that Wei Suo would not give up, and asked how he was in the veins of the Lingxi mine, and the Xiao girl added another sentence. What about the gray bracelet and the stone tablet? But Wei Suo apparently didn't give up on the ins and outs of this battle and some weird things about her. He continued to ask this sentence. This bracelet was originally my thing, but we knew that there was a tomb of an emperor from Beigong not far away. Beigong was able to use my bracelet and tomb prohibition and some nearby terrain to set up the ban to deal with ours. Just head to head. Xiao girl gritted her teeth, completely Mao, don't ask this battle, I am the last sentence to answer your questions about this battle. This guy is not a good deal. Wei Suo heard Mao. What is the ultimate resurrection method, as well as grey bracelets and stone tablets, etc., people feel that all are horrible goods, maybe the Xiao girl is just repairing for the unrecovered, far more than the current strength. What exactly did you do before? Wei Suo asked immediately. Why, now I'm scared. This is mine, I won't tell you. Xiao girl looked at Wei Suo disdainfully, grinned at her teeth, and looked through Wei Suo. I don't think I can go anywhere anymore. Otherwise, I'm afraid of that broken arm. Wei Suo made himself bold and said this intentionally while watching the Xiao girl's reaction indifferently. Xiao girl hated her teeth, but she looked helpless and did not refute. It seems that this is true, even if there were shocking cultivation practices before, it can't be recovered for a while. The expression of the Xiao girl showed Wei Suo's expression, and he was relieved. What is the origin of that house's fine gold, and the inscription on it, do you know it? Wei Suo seized the time and wanted to take advantage of it, reached out a little, and directly condensed a few pieces of the strange gold fragments text. That's a powerful piece of ancient magic fragments. It's useless, but it is said that there are many exercises and spells recorded above. It's just that your text is the cipher text of the ancient sect. In my era, there may be people who know, unless now. Xiao girl said here, the golden light flashed in her eyes, but she stopped. Unless what? Wei Suo asked immediately. Unless you can help me find the trace of the broken arm, if that line is well inherited, maybe some of them will understand this cipher text. Xiao girl narrowed her eyes and said. Aren't you a fake public friend? Wei Suo doubted. I told you that if someone lied, he was directly hacked to death by the heavenly tribulation. The Xiao girl didn't look at Wei Suo and sneered. Have you ever seen this kind of text? Wei Suo reached out a little and turned out the quirky text of Dong Huangzong's supreme classic. Where did you get this kind of text from? When I saw these words made by Wei Suo, it seemed that I was not willing to take care of Wei Suo's Xiao girl. His face suddenly changed dramatically, showing his pointed teeth. Extremely excited, I wish I could pounce on Wei Suo's neck. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 739. Chapter 739 is difficult to decide. Wei Suo, who is she, what is this catalogue? Seeing that Wei Suo was shocked and remembering the catalogue that Li Ziyi had condensed, Han Wei finally couldn't help but ask again. This is a long story, but it must not be transmitted. Wei Suo, the original book, How to Escape from the North Spirit City, How to Meet Li Ziyi, How to Kill Lin Taixu and Mystic Wind Sect Old Antique, How to Pass the Demon Mark Ominous Vein, Encounter Ling Longtian. The retelling of all the great treasures. You actually escaped by this kind of shapeshift. Great art. Lin Taixu is too sinister, it really should kill. More than 60,000 years ago, spirit race. There may also be a desolate race that is against the spirit race. You are actually being chased by Sky Sword Sect Divine Mystic Great Treasure. This catalogue is that, scripture diagram of that thing. These things that Wei Suo has encountered can be said to be extremely bizarre, and Han Wei and Ji Ya have been heard. Right, Yang Rougebird and Blue Luan. After Wei Suo retelled these things, he thought of the two spirit birds. They are retreating culture in a hall of my Yin Corp section. If you are in the past, you can see it directly. Yin Liwa looked at Wei Suo and explained. Wei Suo's experience also heard her thrilling, especially when she looked at Ling Longtian's gaze, and it was even more incredible. I didn't think that such a Longhorn Xian child had such an amazing origin. Right, How did you meet with Yin Great Treasure Sect Master? Yin Great Treasure Sect Master, how did you get on this Yin Corp Sect Master Great Treasure seat? Wei Suo took a look at Yin Liwa and was a bit surprised by the aura determining technique used by seeing you have successfully broken through the cultivation base of the Golden Core second layer. Not yet, thanks to the things you gave me. Yin Liwa heard that Wei Suo always called herself Yin Great Treasure Sect Master, and after a sigh of relief and awesome Wei Suo, it was explained in 1510. It was not long after Yin Liwa returned to Cloud Spirit Continent that sneak design led to Yin Meili. Yin Liwa has her Susu's rank near the mystic level mid-levels Flame Sparrow Monster Mirror, plus the powerful energy as much as the Annihilation Golden Core's Tanjung Sword. As a result, Yin Meili is easily removed. Then Yin Liwa took the confession of Yin Meili and took Yin Meili's attempt to use Yin Corp sect cannot be passed on secret and Li Zijiao to kill her evidence. Originally Blood Spirit Old Ancestor after the fall, support Yin Liwa do Sect Master and support Yin Meili do Sect Master of the Elders and Disciple are all have, now Yin Liwa occupy completely overwhelm seeing the upper hand, and there is evidence in the hands, plus Yin Liwa on hand a mystic rank shapeshift great art great treasure, Yin Corp sect no one can enemy, so Yin Liwa not secretly with the help of the Sea Immortal sect Xuanhuan Old Ancestor Force, on the smooth ride on the Yin Corp sect the position of the sect master. When the Northern Spirit City Ancient sent the shapeshift great art array to destroy and Wei Suo fell into the North Spirit City, Jia and others were extremely tormented, thinking that Wei Suo is unlikely to have hope of survival, but the way they deal with it is Wei Suo didn't think of it. Next, Shui Linger and Jia, the highest of their cultivation bases, used top-grade spirit protecting ancient talisman, respectively, and continued to transmit the shapeshift great art. They arrived at Cloud Spirit Continent and Heavenly Profound Continent's edge-connected ancient sends the shapeshift great art array secret place to inquire about the message. Soon after, I heard the news of Wei Suo's intentional non-great treasure, a man named Wei Suo's rogue cultivator, killing the quartet in the Netherworld City Great Treasure, killing Mystic Wind sect and reminiscent of the Great Treasure disciple Lin Taixu and containing 4 Mystic Wind sect. There are more than 10 Golden Core Great Treasure cultivators including old antique characters. After hearing the news, they knew that Wei Suo was innocent, and after deliberation, Wei Suo would definitely come to Cloud Spirit Continent to meet them, so they then rushed to Yin Corp sect and smoothly joined Yin Liwa. Soon after, Feng Xiao and others who received Wei Suo's communication came to meet them again. The innocent news of Wei Suo brought by Feng Xiao and others brought them down, only to speculate that Wei Suo is very likely to cross the wild, just worried about the safety of Wei Suo when crossing the wild. Those cultivators who escaped from the Northern Spirit City, have you separated them directly from them? Wei Suo asked casually. I remembered the beast tide in the Northern Spirit City of the day, but it was thrilling. The cultivator great treasures are mostly settled in the city of Cheng'an. Han Wei replied. Tianan City, Wei Suo gave a slight glimpse. He knew that Cheng'an City was a city of Xiao, not far from the mountain of Yin Corp section. The middle was separated by 2 cities. He first ran from Sea Immortal sect to Yin Corp sect to challenge Yeling. Also passed through the Xiao city. Yes, elder sister of Nangong thinks that those cultivators may have great treasure in the future, so many cultivators with insufficient spiritual stones donate a lot of spiritual stones, plus Tianan City has just a lot of empty residences, so those cultivators most of the great treasure settled in Cheng'an. Han Wei looked at Wei Suo after saying these words and said, yes, Han Tianmo and Chen Anyuan are there. Yes, these cultivators may have great treasure. Wei Suo glanced at Nangong looking, smiled with great approval, and squeezed his eyes at Yin Liwa. Yin Great Treasure Sect Master, or Han Tianmo and Chen Anyuan, you also set shapeshift great art first, please come to Yin Corp section. Since the news of Heaven's Dome life expectancy, and after seeing the scene of the beast tide of the scale of the great treasure, Wei Suo felt that he might encounter Spirit Beast City at any time in the future, while North Spirit City that beast tide to Wei Suo and other people's feelings are extremely profound. In that beast tide, Com 1000 cultivator play a role, then 10,000 or 20,000 Panikluan play a role. G read treasure. In that kind of scene, the cultivator that has not passed through this kind of beast tide, except for the amazing giant treasure cultivator of the cultivation base. Han Tianmo and Chen Anyuan have experienced beast tide several times and have experience in scheduling. Well, let me ask them to come over. Yin Liwa looked at Wei Suo again and again with a grin and a smile. He nodded. Right, you guys of Yin Corp Sex Mountain Men restrictions, can you resist the ability of divine mystic great treasure? I suspect that Huang Pujualun, the old guy, has a shapeshift great art great treasure that can be traced to me. Although I passed the shapeshift great art array along the way, I was sure that he did not follow, but if he chased Yin Corp's sect, it was a great treasure trouble. Wei Suo suddenly remembered this, and God Se suddenly became serious. Our Yin Corp's sect's Yin Ghost House giant treasure can only resist a divine mystic great treasure. But you shouldn't worry about this. The cultivation world of each great treasure land has always been clear and litigating. If other great treasures of divine mystic great treasure can be this level of cultivator, kill Cloud Spirit Continent's top men, Cloud Spirit Continent's top cultivator, and will not sit idly by. Because this kind of flagrant attack on other great treasures, it is beyond the border and will be regarded as an invasion. Path of cultivation, the great treasure battle between the great treasures of the land, making all the great treasures and the great treasure cultivator very clear about this. Yin Liwa's long eyelashes Mao jumped and looked at Wei Suo. When I say this, I have something I want to discuss with you. Is there something to discuss with me? What's up? Wei Suo asked strangely as Yin Liwa asked. Yin Liwa suddenly raised something to discuss when the two sides have not said anything. This is definitely not easy. Do you know what this is? What immediately made Wei Suo a glimpse was that Yin Liwa immediately put a thin piece of rectangular thin gold into Wei Suo's hands. This thin gold slip has only a simple great treasure, but the word great treasure is flashy, and exudes a unique atmosphere of divine mystic cultivator. Strong sense of pressure. This is the command of heaven transformation cult, great treasure. This is like the heaven transformation cult sect master arrive in person, which represents the supreme majesty of heaven transformation cult. Heaven transformation cult. What is the meaning of this great treasure in your hands? Wei Suo's brow suddenly wrinkled. Heaven transformation cult is the super great treasure of Cloud Spirit Continent. It is also a great treasure like Mystic Wind section. He had already heard of it since the Immortal section. He didn't know if Heaven transformation cult had divine mystic great treasure before. Now the atmosphere of this gold slip is clear, and Heaven transformation cult has the existence of divine mystic great treasure. Heaven transformation cult doesn't know what nerves have been sent recently, and even the great treasures of the Golden Spirit, the Cloud Spirit Continent northern part and the central region's most great treasures have been received. It is estimated that the Immortal sect should also be received. Yin Liwa's brow is also wrinkled. Looking at Wei Suo, the message is the same. It is said to establish an offensive and defensive alliance called the Great Transformation Alliance. If you join the Great Transformation Alliance, which will be attacked in the future, the Great Transformation Alliance will stand on the same front. It is said that joining the Great Transformation Alliance is only an offensive and defensive alliance, and will not interfere with any internal affairs of Zhongmen, but in doing so, their Heaven Transformation cult is obviously a co-owner, and wants to order so many men. This is a public draw. Wei Suo's brow suddenly jumped. Why are other super great treasures? Sit back and ignore. It is impossible to sit down and ignore it. Yin Liwa looked at Wei Suo. Heaven transformation cult and achievement and virtue sect have always been very discordant, and they are in a serious conflict. Now that Heaven transformation cult does this, achievement and virtue sect will definitely not sit back and ignore the news. We have received news that achievement and virtue sect have also secretly started to sneak up some of them. And Heaven transformation cult is doing this openly, and several other great treasures will definitely not ignore it. Usually doing this will only cause the great treasure Luan of the entire cultivation world, and it will not necessarily cause the great treasure war of the entire cultivation world. Is it a sudden increase in the cost of heaven transformation cult, and want to completely eliminate the achievement and virtue sect, Wei Suo Shenyin Road? This is hard to know. In any case, even if two super great treasures are fighting, they are also secretly fighting. By robbing resources, cultivating the genius disciple, and more than the golden cultivator and other cultivators, they will slowly compete for each other's strengths and compete for hundreds of years. One side is strong. Otherwise, it is really a direct confrontation. According to the various things in the history of each great treasure, the winner will definitely be injured, and there will be no good end. Anyway, heaven transformation cult is so weird. Yin Liwa bit his lip and said, the decision to make now is to join the heaven transformation cult side, or join the achievement and virtue sect side. No matter which side you join, divine mystic great treasure can stand up, and you don't have to worry about alien divine mystic great treasure. After the meal, Yin Liwa went on to say, I have already held a Presbyterian meeting on this matter, and I have negotiated it. Heaven transformation cult does this, except that it may be that he suddenly has more money, it may be achievement and virtue section suddenly, the capital of great treasure, has heaven transformation cult to take the initiative to attack, so choose to rely on one side, it is difficult to decide. Do you think heaven transformation cult and achievement and virtue sect, which one has a better reputation in the ordinary cultivator? Wei Suo asked after thinking about it. This super great treasure is like the sky sword section. Even if you do a great treasure, you can't let people know. The impression is that you don't want to provoke, only Supreme's Majesty, high above, can make a difference. There are also many cultivators who die in the hands of these two men every year. Yin Liwa said. Dedication. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 740. According to the records, the of the sky north, the ancestor of the east wasteland, Dongrula, can cross the void, 10 miles away, and pass in one step. If we can get this unfavorable law, Wei Suo's strength will immediately increase by 1 grade. Seeing that this unfavorable law is at hand, Wei Suo was naturally very excited, and his eyes were golden. Really there is no grade, just a piece of this technique, the eyes are straight, some of the ancient power of some escape methods, through the void, instant even hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, compared with those escape methods. What is it named Ling the Xiao girl in Longtian despised Wei Suo when he looked like this. No matter how good the moon in the sky is, it's not as good as the bun incense you got. Wei Suo glanced at the Xiao girl. Don't be so tall, don't be greedy. You still tell people not to be greedy? I don't think I met anyone you are less greedy. Xiao girl scoffed. Ganjiame, have you ever been a ghost? How do I think this Dongxia footwork is a bit wrong? After a while, all the scriptures of Dongxia footwork were translated, and about half of Dong Huangzong's supreme classics were still left. There is no translation. As the last sentence of the Dong Subufa script ends, Wei Suo feels that the scripture is complete, but at the same time it feels a bit wrong, because Wei Suo repeatedly chanted this script in his heart. Very mysterious, it is difficult to understand the meaning of some of the words at one time. Don't call me steel teeth girl, Xiao girl suddenly angered, shouting, that's your own natural talent and lack of comprehension ability, but I translated it for you. If one of the sentences is false, let me be heavenly tribulation hacked to death. Damn it, this technique is so difficult to comprehend. Wei Suo observed the Xiao girl's expression. It was not like there was a fake. After secretly whispering, it was not nonsense, and he continued to condense the remaining words with real elements. De Wang asked the scriptures, Ziazi, I don't think this scripture is of any use to you. How many scriptures are left in Dong Huangzong's classics? It's better to condense all the remaining words and sentences in true Yuan. Let's see if there is anything. Seeing Wei Suo's next condensed text, the Xiao girl said immediately. De Wang asked the sutra, "What is it?" Wei Suo asked, looking at the Xiao girl. "This is a kind of exercise, and you have different strengths from the current way to eat the sun. Do you want to rebuild Jindan again?" The Xiao girl's state of mind is obviously very impatient. It is very polite to speak. "That's not bad. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry, let's just go one sentence." Wei Suo was not in a hurry, and he could be tied with his current Water Emperor's Sun driving strategy, which is also a top-level exercise method. If there are really amazing things, he can't cultivate by himself, at least he can give Han Wei their cultivation. Longitude and latitude of heaven and earth, the return of all things. Xiao girl looked crazy, but in the end she refrained from translating the sentence. Good mysterious ancient scriptures. It was just over 10 sentences, and Wei Suo immediately felt that the mystery and complexity of this great wasteland asking the scriptures still seemed to be above the deficient and crippling moon. According to the meaning of the scriptures, it seemed to be practicing the practice itself. It is also to reorganize the order of vitality in the body and the vitality of the heavens and earth outside the body, which is equivalent to rewebbing the laws of the operation of the surrounding heaven and earth. Wan Nian Xiao Yuan. Cultivate this exercise, can you get a Wan Xiao Yuan, and the sentence Xiao De Wanzai, no beginning and no end in the quotation of the scriptures even made Wei Suo and the old man in green robe could not help but exclaim. Relax, all things will be lost. Xiao girl sneered. De Wang asked Deijing, also known as De Wang Wujinjing, as long as you practice to Shenxian, you can indeed have 10,000 years of life, but this practice it is to keep the flesh in its current state and to age more than 10 times slower. The strength of this practice can make the other person age, cooperate with the virtual footwork, and bully the other side, can make the other years pass by boneless bones. However, even if the monk who practices this practice is even higher, the true element and aura in the body cannot moisturize the flesh and cannot improve the flesh. Therefore, the monks who practice this practice, the fleshes will stay in a state of practicing this practice. You have a good physical body now, but you can really try to practice this practice, but it's a big deal to reunite Jindan again. After saying a few words, the Xiao girl was not addictive and sneered sarcastically. It's such a practice. Wei Suo and Li Bao took a deep breath almost simultaneously. On Weizhuo's silver staff, there was once a magic bead that could dispel his opponent's Xiao Yuan, and how amazing the vitality of the opponent's Xiao Yuan was. Weizhuo and the old man in green robe were extremely clear. This great waste asked the scriptures that he was able to cultivate such a vitality force, cooperated with the virtual footwork, and approached the opponent's side. This kind of vitality could not be stopped at all. Moreover, this kind of exercise can also give monks an amazing life element, because the cultivation of general exercise methods and the cultivation of God profound realm can only be up to 1,000 years of life element. However, this practice does have obvious weaknesses. The rest of the exercises will become higher, and the physical strength and vitality will become more and more powerful. Even if the body of Shenxian Mighty does not cooperate with any method of quenching the body, it has been infiltrated by Shengxuan Yuankai for many years, and the body is very strong and vitality is very strong. The state, even when the cultivation is amazing, the flesh is very weak, and when it is close, it is easy to be killed by people. The flesh of the spirit clan may be inherently strong, so this is not a weakness. Wei Suo also thought that this kind of exercise may only have such unique limitations for the monks, because the flesh of the spirit clan itself is extremely arrogant. For the monk, this is obviously an attack that defends the strong and defends the weak. With Wei Suo's flesh, it is possible to practice this skill, but Wei Suo's Tianlong Kungxing quenching technique can further refine the flesh, and the flesh can be cultivated to a more amazing level. It can also have amazing life Yuan, plus Shang Weizhuo's own emperor's tactics for biting the sun is also an extremely amazing supreme method. It is certainly not worthwhile for Wei Suo to change this method. If there is a strong defense magic weapon, ordinary monks, it is not bad to practice this kind of exercise. Go on. Wei Suo looked dignified, and continued to condense a verse. This practice is obviously also a supreme strong method. If the first class is passed out, all the sex must be snatched. Don't blame me for not reminding you that although the true and vital strength of this practice is amazing, the spiritual energy required for cultivation is many times that of the ordinary practice. Moreover, the nomadic people also know this practice, so don't spread it. Go out, otherwise in case the Baron still survives, you will be traced to you, and your cultivation is the only way out. After the girl Xiao said this to Wei Suo politely, she continued to translate the scriptures sentence by sentence. Why are these ancient scriptures of the Ling family so incomprehensible? Wei Suo could hear that each of these verses contained great truths, and they corresponded to some internal points of the body and the stars. The Xiao girl couldn't make it up casually. Came out, but the meaning of this scripture was momentarily difficult to comprehend, unable to understand the meaning in its entirety. There is no such thing as a magical man. With the reduction of the remaining text, Wei Suo can be sure that there is no such unfavorable law in the ancient book of Donghuangzong. The last sentence is still left as the last sentence of this great wasteland asks the script to end, the entire Donghuangzong classics, only the last sentence, only a few words. Between the flashes of Wei Suo's eyes, the remaining 10 words were first condensed into the previous 5 words. Yunling. Originally the Xiao girl was extremely impatient and became more and more impatient, but when she suddenly saw the words of Wei Suo, the girl's eyes suddenly showed an incredible golden light, and her eyes flashed the golden gaze that emerged, almost converged into 2 golden beams of light, which was very appalling. She just said 2 words unconsciously, and immediately stopped her mouth. Yunling. There are 3 words next. What is it? Wei Suo knew that it was not the same as Xiao Xiao, and immediately forced to ask. This is ours, it has nothing to do with you, you have no right to know. Xiao girl immediately looked at Wei Suo, revealing her pointed tiger teeth. There are the remaining words, hurry up to me. No, how do I know if this is yours? I got this scripture, of course I have to know all the content. If this content is really not related to me at all, I promise to see nothing. And I can swear that I won't mention it to anyone. Wei Suo shook his head quietly. You tell me all the words, and then I condense the remaining words. Do you want to die? Hurry up the remaining words. If you could kill me, you would have killed it long ago. Don't talk such nonsense, Xuanhuan is taking everyone's time. You. Okay, let me tell you, these 5 words are Yunling's killing days. Xiao girl insisted for a moment, but Wei Suo was not relieved, and finally she compromised with both eyes. What do you mean by Yunling de Tian? Wei Suo asked immediately. Daxiantian is the name of a powerful man. I didn't see the rest of the rest. How do I know what it means? The Xiao girl's eyes were like golden swords, and she wished to tear Wei Suo to pieces. Look. Wei Suo doesn't care how the Xiao girl's eyes breathe, she is very Xioxin, 1 word at a time. After the Xiao girl says a word, the next word will be condensed. No. You, she, long, town, treasure, hard. Yunling de Jitian is not as good as Shizhu Huang. What does this mean? After all the remaining words were translated, Wei Suo and Lu Bao were completely stunned, and they couldn't understand what it meant. I don't know the meaning of this sentence very well. If you come to Yunling mainland, you can help me to listen to some news, or you can figure out the meaning of this sentence. Xiao girl's impatient look disappeared, the golden light in his eyes also went out. At this time, Wei Suo and the Xiao girl were still whispering and reciting the verse of Li Freehand, and they had reached a barren ancient mountain that looked gloomy in the night. Has reached the periphery of the Biwang ruins. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 741. Chapter 741 Touting Top Rank Gong Shapeshift Great Art. You want recultivation, but there is another heaven level top rank that shapeshift great art can choose. Wei Suo looked at Han Wei and took out a note of blue notes to her. There is also a heaven level top rank, shapeshift great art, Wei Suo. When the statement came out, all the people present were completely shocked again. There are so many good things on this dead liar, even Ling Longtian couldn't help but swear. A heaven level top rank shapeshift great art has been amazing. Even if you have a great sect with the divine mystic great treasure, you don't necessarily have heaven level top rank shapeshift great art. But now Wei Suo's, in addition to the great desolation Dao asking scripture, there is also a heaven level top rank shapeshift great art, plus his own water emperor sun swallowing secrets. He has a total of 3 heaven level top rank shapeshift great art. 3 heaven level top ranks, shapeshift great art, plus heaven mending pellet, plus so many shapeshift great art great treasure. This accumulation, as long as his cultivation base is slightly higher, establishing a sect is enough, and if it is true establishing a sect, the sect will certainly achieve amazing achievements, not an unknown Xiao sect. Yin Liwa looked at Wei Suo and couldn't help but think of it. West's clean colored glass, a shapeshift great art with only ice spiritual root female cultivator talent. This is a supreme ice shift great art, which can be used to build the divine domain. Han Wei's divine consciousness explored the note and immediately saw what was recorded. This shapeshift great art is from a secret place at Netherworld Palace. It is the ancient divine mystic great treasure. The shapeshift great art of West's clean mystic female is definitely not the same. Wei Suo nodded. This work shapeshift great art I have carefully read, is only ice spiritual root female cultivator to cultivation, said that only to repair to golden core, the body is true UN stress dang, you can stimulate a unique field, so that around cold, repair divine mystic, can be un great treasure road shapeshift great art patterns, around the body to form an ice cold divine domain. The power must be surprisingly extraordinary. But this work, shapeshift great art, has been in Netherworld Palace for a long time. Netherworld Palace doesn't seem to have a female cultivator of shapeshift great art. I don't know if there is any reason for it. I got it. Great Desolation Dao asking scripture and West's clean colored glass have their own strengths according to the cultivation condition. You can all use cultivation with a naked body. You can choose one after repeating the sentence. Wei Suo looked at Nangong Yuking and said, Yuking, do you have any plans to change shapeshift great art recultivation? Then I started to change shapeshift great art recultivation and repair great desolation Dao asking scripture. Nangong Yuking gave a slight yin a moment, then decided, and nodded. Nangong Yuking's current cultivation base is not high, and she and Han Wei's heavenly crystal emperor pill and other things are not used. In this heaven level top rank shapeshift great art, the shapeshift great art recultivation is very good. Yuking's sister repairs great desolation Dao asking scripture, then I will try West's clean colored glass first. If I can repair it, I will repair West's clean colored glass. I have to look at these 2 heaven level top rank shapeshift great art has amazing things. If West's clean colored glass can't be cultivation, then I also repair great desolation Dao asking scripture. Han Wei said this right away, a look of leaping you. Hearing Han Wei Suo couldn't help but be speechless. This choice of shapeshift great art itself is extremely cautious, but to Han Wei, it is a bit of a play. It seems that because of curiosity, want to see looking at the difference between the 2 types of shapeshift great art, Han Wei decided to choose West's clean colored glass. However, for Wei Suo, if he wants Han Wei to choose, he is also inclined to choose West's clean colored glass. Because after all great desolation Dao asking scripture for cultivator, a cultivation, fleshly body strength will maintain the current situation, which makes cultivation this work shapeshift great arts cultivator a defensive shapeshift great art great treasure, otherwise divine ability again for strong great treasure, attack again to be surprised people, fleshly body cannot withstand the impact, earthquake dang, if not be careful in the other side of a blow, it is easy to fall. Chen Shu, do you want to change shapeshift great art recultivation? If you want to change shapeshift great art recultivation, culture great desolation Dao asking scripture is also possible. Wei Suo asked Chen's cultivator again. The Chen surnamed cultivator is actually named Chen Wen Liang. It is only after Wei Suo last time understood the truth of lust. He respected it very much and used him as his elder. He called him Chen Shu and never asked him his name. You, like your parents, have no reservations about your friends, and you have the same sun and moon. Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo, very relieved, shook his head. My natural talent is ordinary, or try to make the original shapeshift great art impact golden core, otherwise change shapeshift great art recultivation, culture this heaven level top rank function shapeshift great art, maybe not enough life essence cultivation to golden core will fall. It's just a matter of life essence, but don't worry, I have a lot of spiritual Yao that can improve life essence. Wei Suo looked at Chen's cultivator, very seriously. Thank you for your kindness. Your spiritual Yao is also used by others for great treasure, and if I am also a great desolation Dao asking scripture, the resource consumption is also great treasure. As a result, the constitution of Nangong fellow Daoist has limitations. Focus resources on the Nangong fellow Daoist. Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo and said, in any case, Yin Xiangxin has the heart to help me. Even if I am practicing the shapeshift great art, it is very likely to achieve good results. You and Nangong fellow Daoist, the higher their future achievements, the more good secret places I can get, and it doesn't conflict. Good. Hearing Chen's cultivator, Wei Suo did not insist and nodded. Because he knows that the Chen surnamed cultivator is also a real lust, to cultivate two cultivation top grades of shapeshift great arts cultivator, the resources consumed will be very amazing, and in the current lust shape, Nangong Yuking and Chen surnamed cultivator for some time in the future, they will definitely rely on Wei Suo and Yin Liwa for their people. To see swindlers, why don't you be ignorant of them, go to the secret place and ask people if they want to. How can you be mad at me? Don't take a few essence metal and ask me if I want to. Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo's 4 secret place selling top grade gong shapeshift great art, very depressed, could not help but call such a sentence. Well, do you want these essence metals? Wei Suo took a handful of moves and took out a few pieces of ordinary black iron, brass, etc. and threw them to Ling Longtian. Mother Hummer! You are when I am smashed ah! Ling Longtian looked mad at the moment, and couldn't help but uttered swear words. Ling Longtian was so desperate and sullen, so funny that Han Weiwei and others couldn't help but snicker. Now I have regretted that the cultivation base is too high, or else I changed shapeshift great art recultivation. Yin Liwa saw Wei Suo ignore the swearing Ling Longtian's look, and the corner of his mouth was a smile, and he looked at Ji Ya and Shui Linger and said this. No hurry, I have a good thing for you. Wei Suo see Ling Longtian gas to scold the appearance, is also very proud, haha a smile, will evil King Dark Box took out, handed to Yin Liwa hands, this thing you be careful, don't be this steel teeth younger sister Rob, this steel teeth the younger is very cunning, from my hand out of things, she might say not the sister things, will start to rob. Put your dog fart. Ling Longtian suddenly became more irritated and screamed. This evil chi is the damned thing, you don't want me to give it. I said that if I don't eat essence metal in this sect, I won't eat it. I am reputable. If you are like you may not be able to speak at any time. Blackmail is dying. Evil King Dark Box. This is the ancient evil kings to great treasure, mystic rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure. This thing is supreme to great treasure for the cultivator of culture Yin Yuan's shapeshift great art. Wei Suo, this thing, you can upgrade my cultivation degree with great treasure, this thing, where did you get it from? At this time, Yin Liwa looked at the evil King Dark Box that Wei Suo put in his hands, and suddenly the naked body was stiff, and even the surging sound changed a little. Shapeshift great art great treasure, by mystic rank high grade. When I heard Yin Liwa's surging sound, the faces of Feng Xiao and Ji Ya also changed. Mystic rank high grade's shapeshift great art great treasure represents what it means, and they are naturally clear. This level of shapeshift great art great treasure, even Shui Linger's mystic wind sect, is only one piece, 2 grades of great sex Zhenchan shapeshift great art great treasure. Before Weisuo, they only had shapeshift great art great treasure reaching mystic rank middle grade. The shapeshift great art great treasure above mystic rank, like the sect of the level of Yin Corpse sect, is extremely rare. Yin Liwa has a powerful energy approaching the mystic level mid-level flame sparrow monster mirror ancient great treasure, which is enough to sweep the entire Yin Corpse section. Dao rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure, for the general golden core great treasure cultivator, is extremely rare to great treasure. Before Yeling got 2 pieces to Dao rank high grade golden shapeshift great art great treasure, I feel that I can already be among the more than 10 cities nearby, and the ordinary golden core cultivator is invincible. The appearance of the shapeshift great art great treasure of mystic rank high grade, Feng Xiao and Ji Ya are naturally extremely shocking. This thing is from the one who knows which old antique character I am playing against. Wei Suo haha smiled, a golden light appeared on the hand, mystic rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure, I got one, this thing, steel teeth younger sister might have to grab it. Flatulence I said that if I don't grab it, I won't grab it. When I have a good thing in my hand, maybe you are asking for these things to change with me. Ling Longtian is so angry that if she is now dead, Wei Suo's words, it is estimated that Wei Suo must have been spit out of her tongue. Annihilation God Spear, the eyes of Ji Ya and others all gathered on this item in Wei Suo's hand. This thing is familiar to them, it is Mystic Wind Sex to great treasure, Lin Tegzu's Annihilation God Spear. This thing is Mystic Wind Sect, I grabbed it, or I will give it back to you. Wei Suo handed Annihilation God Spear to Shui Linger. Shui Linger was very ashamed. Since she saw Wei Suo, she didn't say anything. When Wei Suo collided with her eyes, she also floated her face from time to time, making Wei Suo's heart itch, and she was kind to hold her in her arms. Li Wen has some impulse to save. You should be useful for this thing, you should keep it first. Shui Linger's eyes are crystal clear, and everything goes like a fairy. This kind of talented female cultivator falls into the claws of this young fellow, and it's so unreasonable. Ling Longtian looked at Shui Linger and suddenly became extremely depressed. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 742. Chapter 742 Complete Reunion. Next I will set up Shapeshift Great Art to refine some other Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. This Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure is more useful when you put it on your hand. Wei Suo put Annihilation God Spear directly into the hands of Shui Linger. Like the cultivation base of Shui Linger, there is a Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure of Mystic Rank High Grade, and there should be no problem with the cultivator of the Golden Core third layer. If there is any enemy next, Wei Suo is also more assured. And Wei Suo is almost certain that with so many essence metals on his hand, as long as the flying sword is successfully refining, the ranking of the flying sword will definitely not be lower than the Annihilation God Spear. There is one more thing to give to you. After placing Annihilation God Spear in the hands of Shui Linger, Wei Suo reached out and took the Guangan Moon Palace and put it in the hands of Shui Linger. Guangan Moon Palace. Shui Linger looked at the Guangan Moon Palace in his hand and showed a surprised god lust on his face. I think this thing originally belonged to you, so I grabbed it from Han Yu. Wei Suo looked at Shui Linger. This shapeshift great art great treasure itself was used by Mystic Wind section later. Sect Master promised Xuanhuan's relatives, let me put this shapeshift great art great treasure Jiao up. Shui Linger looked at Wei Suo. She was not too big treasure about this original great treasure, but Wei Suo's heart, but moved her heart. Guangan Moon Palace offensive and defensive a naked body, I also use it very smoothly. Elder sister Liwa has Evil King Dark Box, and this Annihilation God Spear is first given to elder sister Ji Ya. So against the enemy, We all have a shapeshift great art great treasure above mystic rank middle grade, which is the most great treasure for the enemy. Power. Xuanhuan said that, after reaching out, the cold moon palace turned into a blue light, like a blue great treasure stone on her snow-white but white forehead, making her look more noble, more like a fairy walking down the sky. At the same time, she put Annihilation God Spear in the hands of Jia. So good Wei Suo is thinking about giving Jia something. Now I see Xuanhuan giving Annihilation God Spear to Jia. I feel good and nodded. Looking, you have to repair great desolation Dao asking scripture. This great yin heaven collecting gown also has the defensive power of mystic rank middle grade, and it can withstand the cultivator's divine consciousness, and give you the first defense. Subsequently, Wei Suo took great yin heaven collecting gown and gave it to Nangong looking. It's really great treasure. If you don't die, you will have a blessing. Your harvest this time is really great treasure. /p. Seeing the above things in Wei Suo mystic rank, Feng Zio and others are looking at the eyes straight. After all, they know very well that the things above mystic rank are extremely rare. Even the great treasure cultivator above golden core second layer third layer may not be there. Wei Suo has so many great treasures. Shapeshift great art great treasure. Open the school. Heaven's dome is broken, under beast tide. I don't know how many cultivators are falling, but beast tide also brings more resources. In the next cultivation world, there may be more geniuses. Yin Liwa couldn't help but say, after the great treasure disaster, for the surviving cultivator, it often means the great treasure. When we came, the various materials in heavenly profound continent cultivation world were significantly richer, and the price was also much lower. If Heaven's Dome is no longer a breach, it is another golden age of the cultivation world. Hang Zhuai also nodded, said. I see that it is already an era in the cultivation world. Otherwise, we can't get a cultivator like our brother Wei, and there will be no ancient spirit race like Ling Longtian. Feng Zio said. One sect in the same day, 3 cultivators hit the golden core at the same time. This is also a matter of time. Great sect Master Yin, they are preparing to hit golden core. You take us to see how Mingping fellow Daoist and Qi Longshan fellow Daoist are helping them. I also know a few restrictions to help them also arrange by the way. A bit. Suo smiled and said. As for the Earth Mother ancient scripture, Wei Suo is also ready to be passed to Feng Zio and Jia. As for the void walking footwork, it is not anxious, because Wei Suo has tried void walking footwork with his cultivation base. It almost as good as it can be. According to Wei Suo's estimates, Jia and others estimate that at least the late stage of the golden core third layer will be able to force the void walking footwork. They are in the White Bone Hall, where the secret place was originally the location of Yaling Cultural, /p. Yin Liwa smiled white and Wei Suo glanced at him with a shadow and swept away, leading the way in front. That being the case, I am directly responsive to Heaven Transformation Cult, saying that our Yin Corp sect is willing to join the Great Transformation Alliance. While leading the way, Yin Liwa also discussed with Wei Suo about lust. Good. Wei Suo followed Yin Liwa's side and nodded. Right, when I was against the enemy with Lin Taixu, I learned from Han Yu that Cloud Spirit Continent is likely to have a section Nature Holy Fruit. And Steel Teeth younger sister added that Buddha Nature Holy Fruit is something that Ancient has to cultivate in the sect of the Buddha Shift Great Art. I don't know if there is any great sect in Cloud Spirit Continent. Is there a Shapeshift Great Art? Dead liar, don't call me Steel Teeth younger sister. This time, Ling Longtian also followed Wei Suo, who had changed to the red-faced middle-aged cultivator with Bamang shapeshift talisman, but now that Wei Suo said that she was Steel Teeth younger sister, she suddenly screamed. He great sect of shapeshift great art, in Liwa heard Wei Suo's words, but it was a slight glimpse. Achievement and Virtue sect is said to have several exercises, shapeshift great art, which is derived from the ancient Buddha's work, shapeshift great art. Achievement and Virtue sect, Suo is also a slight glimpse. Try to set up Shapeshift Great Art to help you find out if there is Buddha Nature Holy Fruit inside the Achievement and Virtue section in Liwa. Stopped and looked at Wei Suo. Do you want to change your decision before joining the Great Transformation Alliance? I don't need it, Wei Suo Shenyin a moment. Even if Heaven Transformation Cult has Buddha Nature Holy Fruit, it is impossible to give it to us because we join the Great Treasure instead, in the hands of the other party. When the Jiao is easy or clever to take over, there is no more scruples. And the Achievement and Virtue sect may not necessarily have the Buddha Nature Holy Fruit. /P. Fine. Have you returned to Cloud Spirit Continent? Have you ever met with Sea Immortal sect? /P. Not yet, I am here directly. Would you like to send someone to Xuanhuan Old Ancestor and ask him to collect the Water Attribute Monster Core for you? Sea Immortal Sect's Water Attribute Monster Core is the most productive, just right for your culture. I also collect Water Attribute Monster Core, for you. /P. Well, you can help me to tell him, and I will return to Sea Immortal Sect sometime later. And I won't let Sea Immortal Sect suffer, I will bring some Shapeshift Great Art to them. /P. Talking to Yin Liwa about the Water Attribute Monster Core, Wei Suo's thought of the Pango Giant Hibernator that he saw in the Hibernation Gas Sea that day. Pango Giant Hibernator, the Water Attribute beast itself, has a level 7 high level and is hidden in the Hibernation Gas Sea. The cultivator is rare. It is said that there is no cultivator in the last millennium to hunt this beast. The years of growth are generally extremely far-reaching, and perhaps the existing ones are more than just the original rank. And it is said that the Water Attribute Monster Core origin chi of this monster has some special magical features. This giant beast intercourse lurks in the deep sea of Euro Place, and it is easy to move. Wei Suo and Ji Ya met at the time in the Hibernation Gas Sea. Now think about it, you can go to that place once. If you can get a monster core of Pango Giant Hibernator, you must have great treasure for Wei Suo. The gate of Yin Corp sect occupies a whole square mountain, which is very wide. The secret place is planted with some Yun plants and giant bones with many monster beasts. Yin Chi is heavy. The entire Yin Corp sect's temple and residence, the great treasure, is mostly placed in some of the low-secured secret places and valleys of Yin Chi. It is estimated that over 10,000, Yin Liwa leads the way, but there is no scruples. Directly passing through the air, for a moment, it plunged over the valley of a secret place. I saw only one of the mountains, a white great treasure hall built entirely of giant great treasure monster beast, which occupies at least 1,000 square feet. His is the former residence of Yeling. Great Sect Master Yin, Yin Corp sect is a great treasure of the treasure. Does every golden core cultivator have such a secret place? As soon as I saw the palace like the palace of the prince, Wei Suo couldn't help but tut-tut to admire a surging sound. I have to admit that this Yin Corp sect is indeed several times higher than the Sea Immortal section. Sea Immortal sect's gates are less than 1/10 the size of Yin Corp sect, and only the temple at the top of Xuanhuan Old Ancestor has the view of the White Bone Great Treasure. He gates of our Yin Corp sect, a total of 72 secret place valleys, of which 10 secret places are reserved for the Golden Core Cultivator. If you have a Golden Core Cultivator, you can divide it into a secret place valley, let you build a palace with more great treasures, and you can call up to 100 inner sect disciples and listen to them. In Liwa smiled and took the lead to the door of the Great Treasure Hall. Our Yin Corp sect used to have 10 Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivators in the door. In addition to the empty homes of Yeling and others, there are 3 secret place valleys that are waiting for nothing. /P. Sect Master at the door of the White Bone Great Treasure, there are 2 Yin Corp sect disciple wearing emerald shapeshift great art clothes. When they saw Yin Liwa landing, the 2 Yin Corp sect disciple suddenly fell awed. The color, immediately analogously lined up a great treasure ceremony. Yin Liwa didn't have much to say, just nodded and took the lead and walked into the White Bone Great Treasure Hall. Sect Master, who controls the entire sect's life-saving giant treasure, and Yin Liwa does not have the old antique grade Supreme Elder. It is the true supreme of Yin Corpse sect. Just across the door from the Great Treasure Hall, there is a white bone Great Treasure seat, which looks amazing. Yin Liwa led the way, bypassed the white bone Great Treasure seat, walked into the rear passage, bypassed a dozen rooms and stopped before a secret place quiet room. Why fellow Daoist Wei? You're back. Kai Longshan and Qingping of Neri are obviously aware of the arrival of Yin Liwa and others, and when Yin Liwa and Wei Suo walked to the door of this quiet room, they were arranging Qi Longshan and Qingping on the ground of shapeshift great art. When I saw Wei Suo, I was suddenly stunned and immediately surprised. Qi Longshan is directly straight and can't help but pull it in one step and directly pull Wei Suo's hand. Old Great Treasure, are you back? Almost at the same time, in the room of the Great Treasure Hall, there was suddenly a screaming sound, with a surging sound of a foreign accent that was neither cloud spirit continent nor heavenly profound continent. A group of faint yellow flames brought out the surging sound of Chi Chi, and it was almost instantly outside the quiet room where Wei Suo and others were. Old Great Treasure, really you? A soul bird in the faint yellow brilliance, the god lust is very anthropomorphic, it is Wei Suo's Yang Rouge bird. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 743. Chapter 743 For Women Escape. Yang Rouge bird? Still the head has opened the smart Yang Rouge bird? This guy is so damned thing. At first glance, the Yang Rouge bird, which was run by the Great Treasure, and the long treasure of Ling Longtian, suddenly swelled. The high-level monster beast is always a high-level monster beast, just like the ancient heavenly dragon, no matter which period of the cultivation world, it is always the top presence. In the era when Ling Longtian was in the same place, the wise Yang Rouge bird was also unspeakable. However, Ling Longtian has not been shocked yet, and a blue light followed Yang Rouge bird and followed a little behind the Yang Rouge bird. Blue Luan, Ling Longtian's eyes almost fell out. Ling Longtian is still unaware of the entanglement between the Blue Luan and Yang Rouge bird and Wei Suo that the succubus deer has made, but in her cognition, the smart Yang Rouge bird is just like a piece of quality. The top material, what kind of shapeshift great art great treasure will end up, or the Yang Rouge bird's culture and luck. But Blue Luan is the real top-grade spirit beast, the ancient bloodline of the Fen nationality. Really born level 9 top-grade spirit beast. The spirit beast of the natural level 9, but almost the same level as the spirit race. This guy, for a time, Ling Longtian's head turned a little bit off. If divine mystic great treasure can be followed by both Yang Rouge bird and Blue Luan, she can understand, but such a sinister and shameless golden core cultivator, there is such a strong great treasure team, which really makes her feel a bit difficult to accept. Your injury is already in good condition. Wei Suo didn't pay attention to the look of Ling Longtian at this time, and Yang Rouge bird, who was excited, smiled, and said. At this moment, Yang Rouge bird looks like a Mao, and the spirit light flashes, without any trace of injury. Old Great Treasure, you are not only completely hurt, but the cultivation base has also improved a lot. You see, Yang Rouge bird was very excited. During the conversation, a cyan flame emerged from its front, and an amazing heat spread instantly. The whole group of cyan flame condensed like a green U, which was suspended in a strip of gold. The silky brilliance looks very strange. Your cultivation base has improved so fast, Yang Rouge bird. This group of cyan flame condensed, and Wei Suo was taken aback. This group of cyan flame condenses many sun true fires, giving Wei Suo's the feeling that it is similar to the antiquity ominous fire powerful energy that has been condensed with its golden core second layer cultivation base. The fire energy that Yang Rouge bird condensed before is still some distance from such powerful energy. In just a few dozen days, Yang Rouge bird's fire power is so fast, and the degree of improvement is too much. Amazing. This fire power is such a strong great treasure, the strength has reached at least the strength of the level 8 monster beast. Ling Longtian couldn't help but swallow his mouth as soon as he saw the flame ignited by Yang Rouge bird. Opened the ingenuity and reached the Yang Rouge bird above level 8. Even if you don't follow the cultivator, you can easily achieve amazing achievements in the wilderness. Generally speaking, this kind of spiritual tip beast, most of the great treasures are defeated by natural enemies below level 7, and when they reach level 8 or above, they can basically become the ultimate existence of strong great treasure. This is also a thank you. Yang Rouge bird nodded at Yin Liwa. A surging sound made Yin Liwa's face a blush. Yin Corp sect is suitable for the spiritual Yao of our two cultures. It is basically eaten by us. Mother-in-law, I met the old great treasure, did not shout surging sound. Old great treasure, say hello to the old great treasure. Old great treasure, Blue Luan heads down, low surging sound shouting Wei Suo. A surging sound. Since you choose to follow me with Yang Qing, I will naturally not let you suffer. What is good for you, there will be no secrets. I don't care about the past, I will definitely treat you as my own, and I hope that you will not take vengeance. Wei Suo looked at Blue Luan's look, and the secret sound transmission came to her ear. After all, Blue Luan followed his Yang Rouge bird and was at the most critical juncture in North Spirit City. He also went forward with them. There is no disagreement. For Wei Suo, it has passed the test, so Wei Suo is now honest. The words passed to Blue Luan. When I heard the words of Wei Suo's, Blue Luan's naked body shook a little and involuntarily raised his head. Seeing Wei Suo's very candid look, this Blue Luan didn't have a surging sound, but he did not consciously nod. This guy is really quite popular, Mother Hammer, I don't know if it is installed. Mother Hammer, how can I always resist the swear words of these two words like him? Ling Longtian is unhappy with the surging sound. Fellow Daoist Qi, Qingping fellow Daoist, don't come innocent. It was beaten by Yang Rouge bird until this time. Wei Suo and Qi Longshan and Qingping said hello. Innocent is innocent, just waiting for the arrival of fellow Daoist Wei, and so on. I heard that fellow Daoist Wei great treasure kills the quartet, there must be some amazing luck, I don't know if fellow Daoist Wei can say it. Qi Longshan looked at the smiling Wei Suo and couldn't help but laugh. We don't want to delay their impact on core formation, and arrange and say. Wei Suo looked around with a smile. How is the two fellow Daoist now arranged? The rest of the two secret places have been laid out. This secret place great treasure is about xiao half an hour. 3 people are in the hall to attack the golden core. When they will lead to origin Qi, will it be affected? Influence core formation? No, there are more than 200 feet between the 3 quiet rooms. Before the golden core, there are restrictions protection, which will not interfere with each other. Core formation starts, Zhou leads to origin Qi, I have read the relevant records. The number of people in the same place impacted the golden core, but the origin of the Qi origin Qi is more, but more favorable to core formation. Next, Wei Suo talked about how to arrange restrictions with Qi Longshan and Qingping, and how to escape from the North Spirit City, and how to get there all the way, Great Treasure said. Qi Longshan and Qingping both heard about Spirit Race and Desertate Race, Ancients level of Great Treasure, and the encounter with Sky Sword Sect, which was naturally amazing. After half an hour, Qi Longshan and Qingping arranged the restrictions, and Wei Suo also added a restrictions to the Fengxiao. Subsequently, Fengxiao, Zhangzhuo and Shi Zhongqing each entered the quiet room and began to impact the golden core. After everyone talked for a while, Qi Longshan and Qingping, Chen Cultivator, Yang Rougebird and Blue Luan stayed in the hall of Yeling, helping Fengxiao and Zhangzhuo and Shi Zhongqing shapeshift great art. Wei Suo and others were led by Yin Liwa, and a terrain was slightly higher than the secret place of Yeling. The naked body was carved into a temple with a hard yellow U. This great treasure hall was originally prepared for the Yin Corp sect golden core cultivator. It has been empty, but now it is the residence of Ji Yat and others. Dead Steel Teeth younger sister, you won't pick a quiet room and take care of it, keep following me. You are too cunning, I am afraid that you have any intrigues to deal with me. I am very busy, who has time to deal with you? If I use void walking footwork and want to get rid of you, you can't keep up with it. Decease, void walking footwork is all for me to translate for you. Do you have anyone seeing? After entering this great treasure hall, Wei Suo obviously wanted to drop Ling Longtian first and talk to Ji Ya alone, but Ling Longtian did not. After fighting for a moment, the two finally reached an agreement. After Wei Suo and Ji Ya entered a quiet room, Ling Longtian waited in the nearest quiet room. Chi. After Wei Suo and Ji Ya and Li Ziyi entered the quiet room, Wei Suo immediately took out 2 notes, and then condensed a true yuan, directly on the side of the quiet room. Carved up. He was engraved on the wall, and Li Ziyi recited all the scripture and the 5 catalogues. Wei Suo was so anxious to recite Li Ziyi all lightning waning moon and the catalogue, all carved out, is because Li scripture's sanity is very mixed. One Yuan, who also don't know how the next exhibition, maybe can be completely insane at any time, if not by hot iron, maybe he suddenly forget all about lightning waning moon is not necessarily. Brother Rabbit, this is how to cast the scripture and catalogue of the shape moon great art, which is a grey moonlight, but the order may not be correct. Can you remember the order? After engraving all the scriptures and catalogues, Wei Suo immediately said to Li Ziyi, who followed him. These scriptures, seems to be very familiar with. Li Ziyi looked at all the scriptures and catalogues carved out by Wei Suo and quickly said this. Don't worry, you think slowly. Wei Suo's eyes also gathered on the 5 catalogues that he had carved out. The 5 catalogues look very complete, and after a few moments of yin, Wei Suo himself has figured out 3 possible sequences. In all 3 orders, true yuan is able to flow smoothly, but I don't know which one is the true order of lightning waning moon. Looking at Li Ziyi's look now, it seems very likely that I can remember the true order of the lightning waning moon scripture and the catalogue, and there must be a lot of secret places on the scripture that apply shapeshift great art, so Wei Suo is also do not take the risk to try. Let's go to another quiet room first. I have an ancient scripture and you have to talk about it. Seeing that Li Ziyi wouldn't be able to get the correct order for a while, Wei Suo was ready to let Li Ziyi try to figure it out in this quiet room and turn around and say this to Ji Ya and others. I still have some things to arrange. For example, I have to first send a message to Xuanhuan old ancestor, let him help you collect water attribute monster core as much as possible. If you have anything, just tell the outside Yin Corp sect disciple, I will let them completely obey yours. As soon as Wei Suo was heard, Yin Liwa immediately turned red and said such a sentence and swept it out. I will study West's clean colored glass first and see if it can be said. Han Wei immediately turned red on his face and turned and swept out. I will first understand the great desolation Dao asking scripture. Nangong Yuking's face is also a little red, and after saying the sentence, it is also swept out. Let me go and see. Shui Linger said that he couldn't find any excuses. He finally got a foot and his face fled and fled. This, Wei Suo was stunned and there was only one Ji Ya left in a moment. What is this called? I really have an Earth Mother ancient scripture to discuss with you. I don't mean anything else. In the blink of an eye, Wei Suo understood Han Wei. They misunderstood themselves and suddenly shed tears. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 744. Chapter 744 Three Waves High Tide. Earth Mother Ancient Scripture. What is scripture? Ji Ya's face is also full of blushing. It is obvious that she just wanted to swear, thinking that Wei Suo said to go to another quiet room. There is a deeper meaning for an ancient scripture to discuss with them. Go to your quiet room. Wei Suo silently glanced at the position of Han Wei and others, and turned to look at Ji Ya. Good. Ji Ya took the road ahead, but went to the upper level of the temple, and went to a quiet room with the fire furnace room and Dan room. This quiet room is located at the very top of this Huanjiao temple. There are 2 windows covered by spirit light restrictions. There is no shapeshift great art outside to see the lust shape inside, but inside the room can see the great treasure half yin corpse sect at the gate. You can clearly see the white bone great treasure hall where Feng Zhao and others resounded the golden core. The floor is covered with a thick silver silk blanket, and the walls are inlaid with bright green yew. The white copper crane incense burner floats out of the white smoke, and there is a fragrance in the quiet room. This quiet room is very good, and the scenery of this yin corpse sect is really a bit unsatisfactory. Steel Teeth younger sister didn't follow, it seemed to be interesting. Clever wife, do you usually use this quiet room alone? After entering this elegant quiet room, Wei Suo asked Ji Yu hand. They are each a quiet room. I have used this quiet room alone for these few days. Ji Ya suddenly had a surging sound, low surging sound, and shyness. Because Wei Suo had already brought her into her arms, one hand had already entered the shapeshift great art suit very unfamiliarly. You don't mean that it doesn't mean anything? Is there an Earth Mother ancient scripture to explore? I didn't really mean anything else, but even if we really didn't mean anything, they would have thought we had other meanings, so let's talk about mystic fiend great technique shapeshift great art, which I haven't explored for a long time. Ji Ya has to say something more. Zanet is blocked by Wei Suo with his mouth. The naked body is completely softened, and the skin like ice white butt becomes pink. Hula, Ji Ya's shapeshift great art clothing, was taken off by Wei Suo, and was thrown on the silver silk blanket. The whole quiet room was filled with the most flawed Nebs, deceased liar, really a beast, rushing back doing bad things really stains my ears, he. At this time, Ling Longtian suddenly had a red face on his quiet room, and took a sip, a bit irritated. It seems that her hearing was originally to hear all the conversations between Wei Suo and Ji Ya. She had been eavesdropping before, but now she stopped eavesdropping. Husband. Among Ji Ya's quiet room, Ji Ya is unparalleled and entangled with Wei Suo Qiao. Her skin is like the best satin brilliance, like warm yew, warm and crystal, shining with pearl-like luster. Her full-bodied blue silk has a rhythmic beat, beautiful and elegant, exquisite and delicate face, full of moving the charm of heart. Wei Suo's hands wrap around Ji Ya's immortal muscle jade naked body and keep on moving, picking up Ji Ya lust, and from time to time, divine soul's yin. Husband, do they feel like I am dying, can't eat it? I don't know how long it took, Ji Ya was completely weak, and the naked body trembled like a chop, and there was a surging sound. Wei Suo hugged Ji Ya's slippery waist, and greedily stunned Ji Ya's neck. Boom, right at this time, in the gate of Yin Corpse sect, it was suddenly a surging sound of surging sound. This surging sound is just out of the white bone great treasure hall, making the ground and air of the entire Yin Corpse sect mountain gate seem to be beating at the same time. Wind treasure, among them, someone has already attacked core formation, and it is going to succeed. Wei Suo is surrounded by the delicate and powerless Ji Ya, looking away with surprise. White bone great treasure. The clouds above the temple suddenly swayed in the wind and there was a scale-like texture. Ah! Husband, you, at this time, Ji Ya suddenly exclaimed a surging sound, as if he couldn't breathe. Because at this time, Wei Suo suddenly became more violent. On one side of dual cultivation, while watching the variation scenery of core formation, other Dao companion, I am afraid there will be no such opportunity, clever wife, stick to their complete core formation. Ji Ya's gentle and naked body suddenly became a little stiff. How come you so many ghosts? Ji Ya was a little shy and anxious, but before she said this, her great treasure brain was immediately more violently moved by Wei Suo, and Nong had completely lost the ability to think. Ah, Ji Ya a surging sound, extremely extreme, like extreme intercourse pleasure, and like a crying yin's urging sound in the quiet room, while a giant great treasure funnel-shaped cloud roll, formed in the air, appeared in white above the bone great hall. Core formation variation scenery. Yin Corp Sec, someone has hit the golden core successfully. Just in the first surging sound, the dazzling giant treasure, the surging sound, from the White Bone Hall, all the cultivators of Yin Corp sect, and the cultivator of Coffin City outside the gate of the giant treasure SES has been alarmed. These cultivators feel the changes in the clouds over the days of Origin Chi and Yin Corp section. The cultivators of Yin Corp sect are all out of their homes, looking at the direction of the White Bone Great Treasure Hall, and the cultivator of Coffin City is also gathering, going over the gate of Yin Corp sect. At this moment, the core formation variation scenery was formed, and the inside and outside of Yin Corp sect suddenly became a sensation. Which brother, elder, shocked golden core successfully? We, Yin Corp sect, have another golden core great treasure cultivator. Yin Corp sect has broken the golden core great treasure cultivator, and even the blood spirit old ancestor has fallen. I can't think of a golden core great treasure cultivator. It seems that the tiger is dead, but the skin is still there. What about a golden core great treasure cultivator? It's not as good as death. What happened? The cultivator inside and outside Yin Corp sect was just shocked by the core formation variation scenery above the Yin Corp sect gate representing the golden core great treasure cultivator. Suddenly, in the gate of Yin Corp sect, there was a surging sound. The sullen surging sound, the height above the Yin Corp sect mountain gate, the clouds were violently rolled, and the heavenly origin chi gathered again. How? The Yin Corp sect cultivator in the Yin Corp sect gate is even more stunned. Because of this surging sound, the boring surging sound is also from the White Bone Great Treasure Hall. And this is obviously caused by another cultivator. One of them has successfully attacked golden core successfully among Jiya's quiet room. Wei Suo is in the ear of Jiya, another whisper of surging sound. Ah, Jiya's naked body, another fierce trembling, her pair of U-arms, suddenly hugged Wei Suo, a moment of stiff. At this time, the funnel-shaped cloud volume of the first giant great treasure has not disappeared, and a funnel-shaped cloud of a giant great treasure is condensed, and the lower end is connected to the White Bone Great Treasure Hall. Ah! How could it be possible to generate two core formation variation scenery in succession? Core formation variation scenery is the cultivator. When the cultivator is made, the golden core naturally slams the great treasure, the origin chi, which drives the heavenly mist. It is impossible to make one more. Yin Corp sect is two cultivators at the same time, which impacts the golden core success. Yin Corp sect turned out to be two cultivators hitting golden core at the same time, and two golden core great treasure cultivators. In one day, Yin Corp sect has two golden core great treasure cultivators. The entire Coffin City was completely sensational. All the cultivators in Coffin City stopped their business. They all walked out of the shops and residences. They all looked at the two giant treasures above the Yin Corp section, a confident look. Golden core great treasure cultivator, after all, in the mind of most great cultivators, it is still unattainable. An ordinary cultivator, after all, may not see a core formation variation scenery for a lifetime, let alone see two at the same time. The name cultivator hit golden core successfully. Boom. But in the Yin Corp sect mountain gate, the shock to these cultivators has not stopped. Almost after a few breaths after the second core formation variation scenery condense, Yin Corp sect's mountain gate was a sullen roar of surging sound. In the sky above, the sky suddenly disappeared and it was already intense. The rolling mist is suddenly becoming more turbulent. Yin Corp sect, almost all of the cultivators have already developed their own residences and facilities. This third surging sound, while Yin Corp sect's cultivators are almost awkward. This surging sound is also heard from the White Bone Great Treasure Hall. This is true. There is another cultivator that hits the golden core in the Yin Corp sect, not outside the gate of Yin Corp sect. AIDS_crew_ first name _Commonwealth _26 IDS_crew_ first name _Commonwealth _26. 3 core formation variation scenery. Dear God. Yin Corp sect. Even within a day, 3 cultivators simultaneously hit golden core successfully. After the surging sound of the giant great treasure, the mist in the sky suddenly became again sucked up, and again formed a funnel-shaped cloud of the giant treasure. 3 funnel-shaped clouds, hanging down from the sky, almost connected into a naked body. The seeming surging sound is unimaginable. Yin Corp sect has 3 more golden core great treasure cultivators in one day. The strength of Yin Corp sect is far more than that. On the surface, after the collapse of several golden core cultivators, 3 golden core great treasure cultivators were added. Cloud Spirit Continent hasn't seemed to have a sect for nearly 1,000 years. In one day, 3 golden core great treasure cultivators were connected. No. Within 1 month, even 3 golden core great treasure cultivators in a year did not seem to be. They all hit golden core successfully. Among Jiya's quiet room, Wei Suo also had a surging sound. Ah, Jiya suddenly raised her head, and her naked body slammed shut. A pair of hands subconscious, left Wei Suo's naked body, and grabbed his mouth. But even with her mouth shut, her surging sound is still very loud. Hearing this surging sound, Jiya is not a self-defeating body, but also extremely shy, almost fainting. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 745. Chapter 745 Animals. Bah! Isn't this Yin Corp sect Hillgate? I have read it carefully. The stone below the Yin Corp sect is not as hard as in the North Spirit City. Even if immortal slaying vine is planted, in case the beast tide strikes, the great treasure is a monster beast from the ground. If you do, you still can't get a good defense effect. As the conversation between Wei Suo and Jiya surging sounds, the figures of the two appeared in front of a spirit field. This spirit field is located in the Yellow Yu Temple of Yin Corp section. The Huanjiao Temple covers an area of 1,000 feet. In addition to Jiya and others, the main hall of the usual culture, there is a partial hall behind it, and the inner sect disciples selected with a great treasure piece of golden core cultivator. Some courtyards. Now the Yellow Yu Great Treasure Hall is only occupied by Jiya and others, so some of the courtyards in the temple and the rear are empty. This spirit field is located in the middle of the temple, surrounded by buildings, and is surrounded by restrictions that does not block any spiritual chi but restricts the entry of the cultivator. This spirit field was originally designed for Yin Corp sect's golden core great treasure cultivator to plant some of the more important spiritual yao. Now that there is not much time for Jiya and other people to stay in this great treasure hall, this spirit field is empty and does not grow anything. Jiya's exquisite Yu face, still with a trace of blush, Isbo and Wei Suo strolled to the front of the spirit field. God Lust still cannot tell the shyness. After seeing the front of the spirit field, Wei Suo is the eyes flash. First, I took out a great treasure block from the storage bracelet, and then dug a hole dong on Qinjianyu. Subsequently, Wei Suo took out a green crystal stone from the storage bracelet and placed it in the dug hole dong, and buried Qinjianyu in the soil. Then, I saw Wei Suo's hand flashing in the white light, but it took the great treasure UNU box out. After opening the great treasure UNU box, I saw Wei Suo quickly took out a deep cyan from the outside, but there was a layer of purple gold splendid light flashing outside the epidermis, with a rhizome-like lanhua-like fragrance. Come out, immediately put the stem into the hole dong in Qinjianyu. This truncated rhizome is the pure void vine rhizome in the hands of Wei Suo. Planting this section of pure void vine, observing the time of a tea, I saw that the stem of pure void vine has obviously begun to have a tendency to root into the Qinjianyu. After the transplant, there is no problem. Wei Suo take a sigh of relief. Feng Xiao and others have already hit the golden core success. Some things that can improve Jiya's divine ability have been given to them. The piece of Yu stone that records the Earth Mother ancient scripture is now given to Jiya and Jiya. Slowly enlightenment, then, he naturally has to consider how to improve his cultivation base and divine ability step by step. This strain of pure void vine Wei Suo can be said to be hard won. For this pure void vine, Wei Suo has indirectly attracted the three great treasures of Mystic Wind Sect, True Martial Sect and Fearless Heavenly Palace. This strain of pure void vine great treasure has been used by Wei Suo in conjunction with refining Golden Thunder Divine Wood to create two spiritual roots. But this pure void vine can be used to make great treasure Divine Mystic Shapeshift Great Art. For Wei Suo, of course, there is also great treasure. Following the Wei Suo's plan, the next step is to build a relatively stable cave mansion at Cloud Spirit Continent, in case of Beast Tide, which is always possible, because Cloud Spirit Continent's Heaven's Dome is more stable than Heavenly Profound Continent. However, according to records, the life of Cloud Spirit Continent and several other great treasures should be only a few decades. At the time of coming to Coffin City, Wei Suo had already explored the local veins around Coffin City. He is now the target of Yin Corp's section. Although the terrain is dangerous, it is standard and easy to defend, but the rock below is not very tough, plus the location of the Yin Corp sect is not too far from Heaven's Dome, so Wei Suo is ready to pick up another secret place and build a cave mansion. According to the experience of Beast Tide, the number of monster beasts in the area around 100,000 miles inside and outside of Heaven's Dome will be very dense. Therefore, the location of the secret place cave mansion should be chosen in a secret place in the central region near Cloud Spirit Continent. Or you can choose directly outside the wilderness of 100,000 miles. Now Wei Suo's initially envisioned a secret place island directly in the Hibernation Gas Sea. Hibernation Gas Sea deep secret place is far away from Heaven's Dome, basically impossible to be awarded by the Great Treasure Scale Beast Net, Great Treasure Batch non-water attribute, not flying monster beast, nor reach. Originally planned, Wei Suo was ready to meet with Ji Yat and others, then met with Sea Immortal Sect, and Xuanhuan Old Ancestor, then Sea Immortal City went to sea and built cave mansion in Hibernation Gas Sea. But the Sky Sword Sect Divine Mystic Great Treasure Huangpu Kenjualun, but is to let Wei Suo can't help but scruple, because Huangpu Jualun hands seem to have can trace his Shap Shift Great Art Great Treasure, so he can only change the plan a little bit at the moment, ready to sect in Yin Corps for a period of time, at least until he can have the ability to contend with Huangpu Jualun, to build cave mansion. Otherwise, even if he encounters the killing of Huangpu Jualun, he can escape, and the hard-built cave mansion is destroyed, which is extremely depressing. And Divine Mystic Great Treasure's divine ability and its level of contact are far from what the general cultivator can imagine. Wei Suo doesn't just get a Divine Mystic Great Treasure, no one knows Huangpu Jualun and Su Shenjun, even Mystic Wind Sect Master Yexian Chen will not do anything that makes his void-walking footwork helpless. With Wei Suo's current age and cultivation base, it is almost inevitable to impact Divine Mystic Realm. Pure Void Vine's Yao Force accumulates one day, and Wei Suo is naturally a good secret place, so Wei Suo is now the first one. This section of Pure Void Vine slowly accumulates Yao Force. As for the Great Treasure thing, if you want to leave Yin Corp's sect, anyway, he has a Great Treasure UN box. According to the current planting lust shape, it should be no problem to take the Pure Void Vine retransplant. Pure Void Vine is something that Wei Suo has been thinking about for a long time. Mind-devouring bug and primal chaos Yunwei, he is also busy with the secret place. His mind-devouring bug is still asleep, and there is no sign of awakening, but the body of his high-level monster beast is numerous, and the number of ordinary monster beasts is even more than 100,000. The amount of great treasure can be adapted to the monster core of primal chaos Yunwei cultivation. He can then use the great treasure amount master beast to cultivate mind-devouring bug and help Hanwei Wei to cultivate primal chaos Yunwei. Whether Li Zi's lightning waning moon scripture can finally come out is still unknown, but he still has the celestial emperor falling star remnant from Feng Wukang, which is Dark North Fighting Revolution Shapeshift Great Art with this Dao Technique Shapeshift Great Art with Heavenly Dragon Star Body Tempering Technique and with Heavenly Dragon Blood Fossils, you should be able to further temper his fleshly body. In addition, the most important thing is naturally the refining flying sword. Now he has a great treasure heavy ninth heaven chi fire stove from the hands of Eastern Desolate sect, except for the essence puppet shell and the star white the gold essence refined into that regiment essence metal, but also has half contains the 9 secluded cold iron and the ancient desolate heavy waste monster subduing, also from Tower Eastern the heaven s blood meteoric iron, found in sect, contains at least the essence metal grade of the top essence of the Hongyu metal heaven burning. Also from the Mystic Wind sect old antique level characters treasure receiving pocket of the Emperor line's essence metal, as well as black copper and ancient pit gold. These top grade essence metals, gathered in the hands of a cultivator, are extremely amazing and rare. Even the great sects such as Mystic Wind sect and Sky Sword sect, you want to search so many amazing top grade essence metal, while it may not be able to search for it for hundreds of years. With these essence metals, if the refining flying sword is successful, the rank must be amazing. The migration of pure void vine is definitely not a problem. Clever wife, let's go back to your quiet room. I will first refine the essence metal needed to refine the flying sword. Now that I saw the pure void vine growing here, there is no problem. After a sigh of relief, Wei Suo turned his head and said this to Ji Yat. Dutha, didn't you give me the Dragon Ball that I got on Mystic Wind sect old antique? You still have so many monster cores on hand. I am going out to let Yin Liwa prepare some ingredients, then I should be able to refine some Danyao of at least earth rank. My quiet room is not as great as Yuking's great treasure, you still have to smelt essence metal in her. But when we heard Wei Suo say such a sentence, Ji Ya immediately became face red, and quickly put it on the U hand and said the sentence, immediately fled and flew out. No, wherever clever wife hasn't seen husband for a long time, he ran straight away. When Wei Suo saw Ji Ya's appearance, he suddenly screamed in a depressed mood, but he looked at Ji Ya's back, but his face was a very embarrassing smile. No, where is the direct let Deo companion eat closed doors? After Wei Suo watched Ji Ya run away, he swept past the quiet room of Nangong Yuking in the main hall, but when he arrived at the quiet room of Nangong Yuking, he was depressed. Because Nangong Yuking's quiet room door has a jade talisman on it, engraved with a line, learning great desolation Deo asking scripture, retreat for 3 days. No, the same is true. Before arriving at Han Weiwei's quiet room, Wei Suo suddenly stunned and screamed. Training West's clean-colored glass, retreat for 3 days. Han Weiwei's quiet room doorway is also hung with such a piece of jade talisman. No. Wei Suo has tears in his eyes. After a few more turns, Wei Suo came to the secret room quiet room in the middle of the most remote, quiet place, the secret room Shui Linger cultivation used in the quiet room door. There is no closed jade talisman. How did you come to me? You didn't go to Yuking and Weiwei, are they there? Wei Suo plunged to the door, and Shui Linger inside felt it. He swept it out and saw Wei Suo. It seemed that somewhat surprised and his eyes were dodging. They all hung up the U-cards that closed the cultivation, Wei Suo explained. This, honest Shui Linger seems to be a bit dumbfounded, immediately surging sound, then you are coming to me now, anything? Wei Suo. He was subconsciously trying to say that I came to give you an Earth Mother ancient scripture, which is very useful, but after thinking about it, the Earth Mother ancient scripture is in the hands of Ji Yat. Why, I haven't seen you for a long time, and I have a chance to get together with Deo companion. Let me talk to you about Mystic Fiend great technique shapeshift great art. Plus Shui Linger, who is really like a fairy at the moment, is also a dodgy, very shy look. Wei Suo can't help it, so seeing is very arrogant, squatting, straight into the hurried, then one bring the door of the quiet room with you. After a long time, Shui Linger's quiet room also seems to have a surging sound and Ji Ya in general, and the surging sound can't help. Birds. Ling Longtian's quiet room, Ling Longtian, who had closed his eyes and adjusted his injuries, suddenly opened his eyes, and he was so depressed that he had a surging sound.